welcome. I'm Oles Garjuk and you're watching Head to Head with UATV. Today we're talking about Ukrainian political prisoners currently being illegally held behind bars in Russia and occupied Crimea. What is the latest on their lives and what is Ukraine doing to support and free them? One of the prisoners, probably the most famous, Alexei Sentsov, stopped his nearly 5 months hunger strike. Despite dire health conditions, he has been working in prison. 5 scripts, a storybook and a novel have been completed. So how to release our Ukrainian filmmaker? How to free the rest of the Ukrainians behind bars? Stanislav Klich, Mykola Karpiuk, Roman Sushchenko, Volodymyr Baluch, nearly 70 names in total. To discuss this issue, we welcome to the studio today Maria Gurieva, spokesperson of Amnesty International Ukraine. Hello and thank you for being with us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. So 145 days. This is insane. And this amount of days, this time of starvation, inflicted irreversible harm to the health of Alexei Sentsov, and he already has inevitable changes in the work of his brain. What other information do you know on the state of his health?
We do get very disturbing information regarding his health, and it's very understandable considering how long he has been on hunger strike. And the fact that he has been refusing to receive some supportive measures, and he was very decisive towards continuing his hunger strike. After he stopped it, we really hope that he receives all necessary medical help, and we continue demanding it from Russian government that they should ensure that this period when he moves from hunger strike to actually getting full nutrition, that this period is managed properly, and there are certain medical protocols that should be applied to help him deal with this condition.
Would you expect Russian medical facilities actually to comply with these protocols?
It's a difficult question, really difficult, because the information we receive about, in general, from Russia, from Russian government, from their detention facility where Sentsov is being held, it's very controversial. For instance, they say that days after he stopped hunger strike, he ate full chicken, which is insane because it doesn't sound true, and if so, it's very dangerous for his health.
Of course.
Really hope that it is false information. But then again, if we receive this false information, then we cannot rely on anything that goes, any information that goes from that side.
There was also information in the media that Sentsov is on life support in the intensive care. And then Natalia Kaplan, his sister, commented on Facebook that probably journalists somehow misunderstood the information. So the information is not very much correct. But do we know, is he on intensive care or not?
We have only the information that is circulated in media at this current moment. As far as I know, that his lawyer didn't come up with any statement yet, so he didn't neither confirm nor contradict this information. So we're still waiting for this. We do hope that if his health is really in such danger and if it's really deteriorating that much, that he will receive all necessary medical help, and it's the obligation that Russia has towards him.
Towards him, yes, or at least maybe Ukrainian specialists would let to see him in Russia.
At least international independent medical experts would be really necessary to. It would be really necessary to allow them see Sentsov, and Amnesty International is demanding for it for months or even for years to allow this independent medical examination, so we would make sure what exactly is his health, because as I said, we cannot trust to any information that goes from Russia's side.
Yeah, but the response is silent very much.
It's silent, and also our representatives asked for opportunity to visit him, to conduct our own, well, at least observation, to see with our own eyes in which state he is currently, and we were denied as well.
Denied as well. Well, this was probably expected reaction from there. Maria, what's your opinion? How realistic is Sentsov's release after he finished this hunger strike?
We cannot estimate how realistic it is, because we all see that Russia is an incredibly difficult country to interact with or to put pressure on. And we see that all international community have been working on Sentsov release for years already. Just regular people making their actions, famous directors demanding his release, politicians, ambassadors, presidents of different countries, and he's still being held in prison. So we believe that there's only, well, more action is needed, and we should keep this pressure as long as Russia feels that it's better to release him than to keep him imprisoned.
Do you think that Sentsov can be some kind of instrument for bargaining for Putin and Kremlin?
That's quite possible, but who knows, their motives are always hidden from civil society, at least, as we are not involved in any political negotiations, in any of these hidden political processes. So what we can do is only observe it from outside and mobilize international community. But who knows, it's possible.
What about this scenario that appeared in the media recently that Sentsov could be exchanged for, allegedly exchanged for 3 Russian citizens convicted in the United States? Is there any information, like, did any side of the negotiations with Russia confirmed the credibility of this information?
Not to our knowledge, and I think if it's the case, we will know about it shortly.
Yes.
But as for now, it doesn't seem that there were any particular movements in this direction.
Yeah, probably you would be one of the first to know about this.
I think all of us would be first to know about this if it was happening.
Well, Oleg Sentsov was nominated for Sakharov's Prize, and the UK Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt supported this nomination. Also, Sentsov was nominated for the Nobel Prize. Obviously, this is drawing a lot of international attention towards his personality. If he receives these awards, these prizes, how do you think this could change somehow the process? Would Putin be brave enough to hold behind bars as such a personality?
The problem with assuming any sort of result, and especially trying to predict reaction of Putin or reaction of Russian government, is quite fruitless, because we never know, we actually don't. And the matter of his release is a purely political issue, which will probably be solved in purely political way. So there are no mechanisms that we can say that for sure this will work or for sure this will not work.
So we cannot expect basically any...
We cannot expect for sure, but we can try to influence the general political conjuncture to create sort of climate in which Russia will feel like finally releasing him. But likely, unfortunately, nothing much more than that.
Okay. What is the situation with other political prisoner Ukrainians being held in Russia?
It's quite the same. There are many other people that are on hunger strike or were on hunger strike, also protesting both their own detention and all this illegal detention that have been happening for a while already. And also many Crimean Tatars have been illegally arrested and prosecuted without any grounds. And now they are either imprisoned in Russia or their trials are happening in Russia. And many of them are accused in terrorism-related crimes, which are obviously not grounded. And all these trials that happen, they are not, first, they're not compliant with international standards, obviously, but they also look very fake. Very fake. And very
well, they're not
unrewarded.
recognized by anyone
Obviously,
except
yes.
of Russia, yes. So what is Ukraine doing to target this issue now?
We believe there is something being done. There are some statements being done by Ukrainian politicians, by Ukrainian foreign ministry. I would say that civil society in Ukraine does much more
than the government,
than Ukrainian government. Because if we remember case of Oleg Sentsov, even when it only started several years ago, it was very unknown. And the fact that all world community knows now about this case is only
Due to these public events, to these actions and flash
due to
mobs?
people. It all started with really small public actions here nearby Russian embassy and somewhere in Crimea. It started with Ukrainian organizations being first ones to get involved.
Don't you think that the solution for this is purely diplomatic? Maybe that this should be solved on the diplomatic level?
We believe that it can be solved on diplomatic level, but likely not purely on diplomatic level, because international diplomats, diplomats of other countries, right, ministers, presidents, if they do something, they should realize that what they do is a demand of their society. So they represent their societies in whatever international deeds. And therefore, they should feel this pressure of society. They should feel that people of their country, they ask them, what did you do for Sentsov? Did you ask Mr. Putin about Sentsov? For instance, not that long ago, actually about a week or maybe a bit more, President of Finland had a personal meeting with President Putin, and he asked him directly about Sentsov. So they raise this issue, they have to raise this issue in every occasion, but they will do so only if they see that their societies actually go on strikes, go to the streets, write in social media, and actually constantly ask them, what are you doing?
Yeah, demanding some action. So what was Mr. Putin's response?
Well, we don't know for sure because it's a private meeting, but I believe nothing that would be too different from their public statement regarding Sentsov. And I can remind you that they consider him their citizen.
Russian citizen,
and therefore they think they can do whatever they want.
Well, this is a sad conclusion for this conversation, but thank you so much for your interesting comments.
Thank you.
That was Maria Gurieva, spokesperson of Amnesty International Ukraine. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Olas Garjuk. Goodbye.